not naturally as big a man as those other welterweights. So start there. That's a fair point. He moved up in weight, Barrios. So he's not a naturally big, natural welterweight. And of course, we understand Pacquiao has moved up. My God, I don't even know when he first turned pro. You would have thought maybe he could have been a jockey.
Yeah,
I mean he was
108
that.
pounds.
I don't know. It's gonna be a good one. I wouldn't count Manny out. I know he's a little older, but you know he's got a lot of experience, a lot of age, a lot of skills, and I don't really know who's gonna get that one. I feel like if he looks like he looked in the last fight with Ampo, whatever his name is, I feel like Barrios would take it, but I feel like Manny's gonna be lower in weight this time. You know, he's gonna be cut up in shape, ready. So I think I'm gonna root for Rand.
Manny Pacquiao is set to return to the ring, and despite the age difference between him and Mario Barrios, many boxing professionals are picking him to win the fight. They compared the two fighters, highlighted their qualities, and concluded that Pacquiao's speed and intensity would bridge every gap his age might leave behind.
Yeah, it's surprising. Obviously, I know Manny very well. You know, he's a true competitor. He's a guy that if you put something in his head, and obviously to create more history, he's a guy that's going to give everything and, you know, try his best. That's what Manny, one thing I always learned with Manny is give 110% and try your best no matter what. So yeah, he's going to give it his all. Again, you can't beat Father Time, but Father Time is hard, and it was very hard watching him fight.
After this shock news broke earlier on in the week, former undisputed welterweight champion Terence Crawford has had his say on the sensational return to boxing for Pac-Man. Speaking in a media scrum, Crawford was asked to share his thoughts on the rumors that the Filipino legend is set to lace the gloves up once again after a 4-year hiatus. I don't know. We shall see. I don't know.
There's a rumor going around this week that Manny Pacquiao is going to return. What do you make of that?
I don't know. We shall see. I don't know.
Do you think he's too old at 46 to fight Barrios?
I can't say if he's too old or not. You know, if he get in there and win, then everybody will be saying different. So I don't put no limit on an all-time great like Manny Pacquiao.
Where does a win against Canelo out?
Bud was then asked if he believes Pacquiao is now too old to face someone like Barrios. I can't say if he's too old or not. You know, if he gets in there and wins, then everybody will be saying differently, so I don't put no limit on an all-time great like Manny Pacquiao. Should the former champion victorious against WBC champion Barrios, it would be one of the most impressive victories in recent years. The last time Pacquiao held a world title was back in 2019, with his last defense coming against Keith Thurman in July 2019. Another familiar face is back with Manny Pacquiao's training team as the Filipino icon is again about to come out of retirement to take on welterweight champion Mario Barrios.
20s and 30s.
You think it's impossible for him to beat Mario Barrios right now?
Well, it's not impossible because he has power. He should have that power. Barrios is big and a strong boy, so I don't see that happening. But is it possible? Anything's possible, you know. George Foreman did it. There's been others that do it, you know. But I really don't see it happening.
But Pacquiao's speed's the name of his game. Do you think he doesn't have that? There's no way he doesn't have the same speed as before.
There's no way, bro. You guys.
Australian Justin Fortune, who for years has served as Pacquiao's strength and conditioning coach, has also reported for duty at Pacquiao's training base in Los Angeles. He is ready to make sure Pacquiao, at 46 years old, will be in the best shape possible as he tries to buck the odds and snare Barrios' World Boxing Council welterweight title in their fight, reportedly penciled for July 19th in Las Vegas. Pacquiao and his team arrived in Los Angeles 2 days ago. The following day, the Filipino southpaw immediately buckled down to work, reuniting with Freddie Roach at the Wildcard Gym for a light workout, brushing off jet lag. He'll feel the jet lag tomorrow, maybe, Fortune told Los Angeles-based boxing video journalist Ailey Sekbach.
Very, very important fight. But Manny looks good. I saw a little video. He looks in shape. Yeah. He's fast. He's strong.
What do you think of the people? They're making so much of his exhibition in Japan. The exhibition he had with Akpo. Why do you think they're making a lot of it? They say he didn't look good.
Pacquiao will try to beat his own record that he set in 2019, when he defeated Keith Thurman to become the oldest welterweight world champion at 40 years old. And it will be a tough task against Barrios, who at 30 years old and standing 5'9" is in his prime and more active. The shorter Pacquiao will once again have to rely on speed, which Fortune said is still there. He did lose a beat, still fast anyway, but we just have to set his training schedule because he's not 25 anymore, he continued. Fortune then went on to drum up Pacquiao's imminent boxing return, even likening the former 8-division world champion to Michael Jordan, considered the greatest basketball player ever.
Exhibition for Manny in the last year, but this coming fight on July 19, this is a real fight. Yeah, this is a big fight.
So they're gonna see a different Manny.
Yeah. I promise, as a head coach, of course, all the team fucking can work together with that.
He's Pacquiao. He's the Jordan of boxing. Simple as that. He's that famous, and boxing needs him, he said. Despite being very convinced of a victory for Manny Pacquiao, he has admitted he is really concerned for the boxing legend, as the boxing legend prepares to return to the ring aged 46. Pacquiao is set to challenge 30-year-old Mario Barrios for the World Boxing Council welterweight title on the 19th of July, as the Filipino boxes professionally for the first time since 2021. In his last pro bout, Pac-Man was outpointed by Yordenis Ugas. Pacquiao has boxed in exhibitions since, but Barrios should represent a significantly tougher challenge than his opponents in those bouts, as noted by Pacquiao's former promoter, Arum.
Pacquiao, do you see him bringing the international star power in the US?
I think he's a bigger star than Pacquiao, because Pacquiao was more normal as a fighter, and Pacquiao.
I can't say anything negative, because Manny meant so much to us and our company, the top-ranked boss told The Ring. But it seems really questionable that at his age, he would put himself at risk by going into the ring with a champion fighter. I mean, George Foreman wasn't even that age. He was younger when he beat Michael Moorer, and George had been active over the years prior to that fight with Moorer. Manny hasn't been active at all, really. Arum, 93, was referring to Foreman's record-breaking title win in 1994 when he became the oldest champion in boxing history at 45. However, a 46-year-old Bernard Hopkins broke that record in 2011 with a win over Jean Pascal.
I struggled with opponents, with Morales, with Marquez. He was a great fighter, Pacquiao, but again, he didn't have the same body of work that Inoue has. I mean, look over Inoue's career.
Still, Pacquiao's world title bid this summer, enabled by World Boxing Council rules that allow former champions to become qualified challengers, has drawn criticism in the boxing world. He's an amazing person, Manny Pacquiao, and if anybody can do it, he can do it, said Arum, but I'm really concerned about it, given his age and his inactivity. But again, I will certainly be rooting for him because he's really a great guy who has meant so much to us as a company. Pacquiao, widely considered one of boxing's all-time greats, is the sport's only 8-weight world champion. In July 2019, in his second most recent pro bout, he beat Keith Thurman to become the oldest welterweight champion in history, aged 40. He will look to surpass his own record when he boxes Barrios.
That he has to fight at 46 after 72 fights. I'm concerned that he's got to fight a young guy that has been active, and I'm concerned. I'm concerned about that. That's it for me.
I'm with you. And
Pacquiao is also known for his political endeavors in his home country of the Philippines, where he served as a senator from 2016 until 2022. He also ran for president in 2022, but was unsuccessful, and now he is eyeing a return to the Senate. Among those worried about the legendary champion from the Philippines is International Boxing Hall of Fame trainer Teddy Atlas. On his podcast, The Fight with Teddy Atlas, Atlas voiced his worries for Pacquiao, given his age, how he looked in his last fight versus Yordenis Ugas in 2021, and his exhibition bout against Rukia Ampo in 2024. I'm very concerned, Atlas said.
Yeah, one of my favorite people, one of my favorite fighters in the whole world. He's moved up from incredible weight. People forget about that. That's why I brought it up. How many weight classes this man has really moved up. Incredible. Just incredible. But now, yeah, Barrios wouldn't be as big as those other guys, but he's still a guy that's confident. He's a guy that's a world champion. He's a guy who throws a lot of punches. He's a guy who's younger, who's active, you know?
I don't want to stop anyone from making a living or making money, but I'm very concerned with a guy, a great man who's helped his people, who's fought for his people, who's lifted his people up, who's given away money to his people, but he gave away money to his people, that is in a position now that he has to fight at 46 and after 72 fights. Pacquiao, 46, looked his age in a unanimous decision loss to Ugas, who was a late replacement for former unified welterweight champion Errol Spence Jr. after he withdrew from the fight due to an eye injury suffered in training. The former 8-division champion also struggled mightily in his exhibition bout against Ampo, who is a kickboxer. Barrios, 30, faced Ugas in 2023, dropping him twice en route to winning the WBC interim welterweight title by unanimous decision.
I know you can't go by this guy beat this guy, but he could beat that guy, but he could beat this guy, but you can't go by that in my business, in this business, because styles make fights. But you're right, he beat Ugas. You could say Ugas was a little older than when he fought him a little bit, than when Pacquiao fought him. Maybe that made a difference, whatever. But he did take a lot of punishment, Pacquiao, in the Ugas fight. I thought that Pacquiao, for his age...
Barrios defended the interim title once, defeating Fabian Maidana on May 4th, 2024, before he was elevated to full titleist after Terence Crawford vacated the belt following his move up to 154 pounds. In his lone defense of the World Boxing Council welterweight title, Barrios fought to a draw against Abel Ramos on November 15th on the undercard of Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Keith Thurman is the other common opponent between Pacquiao and Barrios. Pacquiao defeated him by split decision on July 20th, 2019 to win the Super WBA welterweight title, while Thurman defeated Barrios via one-sided unanimous decision on February 5th, 2022. Atlas vouched for Pacquiao, being able to jump right back into a world title shot because of his accomplishments in his career, and believes that facing Barrios is his best bet to become the second oldest champion in boxing history.
At that moment, even though he lost the fight, even though he took punishment, I thought he performed as well as he could. I thought he performed well. I really did. I have to say the truth. I thought he performed well for what he could do at that weight and at that point in his life. But I also thought after that fight, he should probably think about leaving, because he performed as well as he could.
Still, the Hall of Fame trainer believes it's an uphill climb for Pacquiao given his age, the wear and tear he's accumulated, and how long it has been since he fought in a sanctioned match. "I just think you're playing with fire," Atlas said. "That's all I think. You could move around, navigate a little bit, say this, say that. But there comes a certain point with everything that no matter how much you move the furniture around, you still know what room you're in. You can't fool yourself, and he's in a room where he's 46 years old with 72 fights." Boxing has incredible comeback stories throughout his history. Perhaps the most impressive of them was George Foreman taking 10 years off shortly after his 28th birthday, then fighting until the age of 48. That story has clearly resonated with Manny Pacquiao, who is set to return to the ring at 46 years old.
I say sad because he's gonna make a lot of money, so we can't feel sorry for him. But at 46, almost 47, it's almost impossible for, you know, I'm just 4 years older, 4 years older than him, and it's not easy to try to think you're gonna get in shape and be able to perform like the way you were, and, you know, when you.
Making matters a bit more difficult is Pacquiao's weight class and the long layoff he's had. Foreman was a heavyweight, and boxers tend to age more gracefully in that weight division. It's not easy for lighter boxers to maintain their agility and keep themselves out of danger when needed. That aspect is what concerns fans of Pacquiao the most. They don't want him to be at risk of a possible knockout. Pac-Man understands the fear of his fans, but he has come out to quell them. While arriving in Los Angeles as he gears up for his return fight, Pacquiao was swarmed by reporters and answered a couple of questions.
They announced Pacquiao is coming out of retirement, right? The legend Pacquiao to fight Barrios. What are your thoughts on the fight and just Pacquiao coming out of retirement?
Well, Pacquiao's a big name, and obviously Barrios a great fight for Barrios because he's a champion, and I think Pacquiao, being that they both have connections with PBC, that's the easiest fight to make. So, getting another title opportunity, I just the name obviously, but I really believe that Pacquiao shouldn't be fighting. I think it's actually going to be a little. I don't.
One of them was in regard to that fear from his fans. Pacquiao's response was short and sweet. Don't worry about it. Fans are more concerned than they would be if Pacquiao was returning against a low-profile opponent, but instead he will be facing World Boxing Council champion Mario Barrios. Barrios is big, strong, and has 18 knockouts in 29 wins to his name. Pacquiao and Barrios will be battling for the latter's World Boxing Council welterweight belt. The fight is set to take place on July 19th. Although it's practically confirmed that the bout will happen in Las Vegas, there hasn't been an official announcement with a set venue yet.
When you beat Barrios, what does that say?
Oh, it's a big thing for me.
And congratulations, you're in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, June. How are you, madam? Thank you.
Manny, what do you say to your fans? They're worried about you fighting again.
In many ways, Manny Pacquiao's return to the boxing ring is reminiscent of Mike Tyson's own comeback. Last year, 19 years after his last professional fight, a 58-year-old Tyson stepped into the ring to face Jake Paul. By contrast, Pacquiao waited only 4 years before reconsidering a return to action. But in doing so, like Tyson, he now finds himself facing criticism from all corners. There is, however, a slight difference. In Iron Mike's case, the concerns primarily revolved around his health, which increased especially after his recent mid-flight medical emergency.
When you beat Barrios, what does that say?
Oh, it's a big thing for me.
And congratulations, you're in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, June. How are you, madam? Thank you.
Manny, what do you say to your fans? They're worried about you fighting again.
With Pacquiao, it's a more complex mix. Concerns over his health, his physical form, and whether this comeback is necessary at all. Like Tyson, Pacquiao has already achieved nearly everything there is to accomplish in boxing. Maybe that's why to many, it feels like a futile attempt for a living legend to return and challenge a much younger opponent. Still, amidst the waves of concern, there are fans who remain genuinely excited about the upcoming July 19th bout between Pacquiao and Mario Barrios. One of them is Mike Tyson's own son, Amir Tyson, who even shared his enthusiasm on Instagram.
It was good. I can see my dad's, he's always stayed in shape, year-round, plays basketball year-round, always running, and all that. So I think it'll be a good one.
He's an icon. Sure. What do you think about other people that are concerned? Your dad fighting at 46, and he knows what he's doing, right? He's up for it, but the people, the fans that love him so much, the media, they're all concerned. What do you think about that?
I mean, it makes sense, he's 46 now, and then even me as his son,
His message was clear. Watching Pacquiao train again is inspiring. Perhaps Amir Tyson, like many others, was swept up by the nostalgia of seeing an icon return to the ring. Sharing a clip from Ring magazine that showed Pacquiao back in training, Iron Mike's son wrote on the Instagram story, "I'm amped to be at this fight." The clip, now widely circulated, shows Pacquiao training at Wildcard Boxing Club with longtime trainer Freddie Roach. With his hands tightly wrapped, the former world champion is seen working on footwork and movement before shifting into fast-paced shadow boxing.
I love him, he's my dad, There's also concern there, but I believe in him, and he's shown us that, he stays in shape year-round and all that, so weight's not gonna be a problem, fitness not gonna be a problem.
Bob Arum said once, a great fighter's like Haley's Comet, once in 75 years. Your dad's like once in 700 years. It's not knowing, he can run back the clock, and age is not gonna be a number. 46 and 36.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Under the watchful eyes of his young son and the rest of the staff and team, Pacquiao delivered a series of jabs and uppercuts. To many, the sequences may reignite memories of his trademark speed and intensity. The fight in Las Vegas marks Pacquiao's first title opportunity in 4 years. In 2019, he defeated Keith Thurman to become the World Boxing Association Super Welterweight Champion. After a period of inactivity, he returned in 2021. However, the attempt ended in a loss. Yordenis Ugas defeated him unanimously in what many believed would be his final fight. One of the most pointed criticisms came from Jeff Mayweather, uncle of Pacquiao's former rival, Floyd Mayweather. He criticized the decision to give Pacquiao a shot after such a long layoff.
This guy's been retired for what, 3 or 4 years?
Hey, what's his last fight, Thurman?
Yeah.
Been a while. He's 46 years old.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is that he's done nothing to be fighting for a world title.
Oh, yeah, for certain. Yeah,
So, I mean, I don't understand why.
So without mincing words, Mayweather said, I mean, the thing is that he's done nothing to be fighting for a world title. Adding to the controversy, many fans and analysts have questioned Pacquiao's 5th spot in the WBC's top 15 rankings. The Filipino icon now ranks above former champion Imanta Stanionis, who only recently lost his title to Jaron Ennis. Promoter Eddie Hearn echoed the confusion, asking, it's like, at least put him in at 14, do you know what I mean? Why would you put him at 5? Why would you put him in at all?
It's a very contentious subject, like, you know, people moaning about Manny Pacquiao. I think Manny Pacquiao is still good enough to beat most fighters in the top 20 at 147 pounds. He's clearly not the fighter that he once was. You're not going to be at that age. My problem is that he's been inactive for quite a long time.
Perhaps the absence of stars like Floyd Mayweather and the looming retirement of other top fighters makes Pacquiao's return so compelling to fans like Amir Tyson. The charm of nostalgia, of watching a hero from the past attempt one final run, still holds power. Regardless of the result on July 19th, a more difficult question may follow. Should Manny Pacquiao continue fighting after this? And that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality contents like this. Until next time, peace out.